Project SAFE, a Kensington-based harm reduction collective. Woo! In addition to Red Umbrella Alliance, which fights for the rights of sex workers in Philadelphia and beyond. I want to take a second to say thank you to everybody here and to the organizers of this particular march for standing in solidarity with sex workers today.
As advocates, we believe that sex work is not inherently violent. It's the criminalization and stigma attached to sex work that creates violence. Under the current system of laws, practices that sex workers use to stay safe are criminalized. Last month, thousands of sex workers used Backpage to screen for unsafe clients. The shit show has literally forced workers from the hotels to the streets to take on greater risk just so they can pay their bills. Sex workers need tools like Backpage to stay safe. Trans women of color bear the greatest risk because racism and transphobia ensure that they have little or no access to safer working conditions. In spite of being the most vulnerable to violence, or because of it, trans sex workers of color have been at the forefront of the sex worker rights movement, but often not recognized as leaders.
Trans sex workers of color, particularly Black women, were among the first to revolt at Stonewall. Yeah, thank you. We're among the first to revolt at Stonewall, but stigma, racism, and transphobia have erased them from the history of the mainstream so-called gay rights movement. Women, trans women of color, trans sex workers of color, like Sylvia Rivera, like Marsha P. Johnson, like Miss Major Griffin Gracie, who is, by the way, still alive and still fighting for her rights, your rights, all of our rights. These women should be honored as the pioneers that they were and are to this day. We believe that sex worker rights are women's rights and human rights. In their 2015 report, Amnesty International recommended the full global decriminalization of sex work as the most effective way to decrease violence against workers.
We recognize that decriminalization is not going to happen overnight. As a first step, we're calling on Mayor Kenney and the Philadelphia city government to immediately grant immunity from prosecution to any sex worker who reports violence they encountered on the job.
Thank you.
Rights, not rescue.
Many sex workers identify as queer and trans, HIV positive, people of color, immigrants, refugees, impoverished, substance users, veterans, and disabled folks, to name only a few of the many diverse lived experiences they embody. For this reason, we stand in solidarity with anti-violence movements. Recognize that Black Lives Matter. And seek to build coalition with anyone organizing for a more just and equitable world. The reality is that sex workers are everywhere. They are your neighbors, your friends, your colleagues, your lovers, your comrades here today. We are real people in our communities who have always been and are now on the front lines of resistance. Sex workers will not be ignored, will not be silenced. We will not be terrorized, and they are tired of being invited late to the tables they built.